What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only SPY, the Nasdaq, the QQQs, and the indices. I'm going to break down SPX and many other stocks out there, and also Nvidia, which is reporting earnings right now, and so far that thing is exploding to the moon. So I'm going to break down how this could affect the markets, why the market's likely going to see a nice bounce given these setups which are developing. Before I break anything down about all of these setups and why they're starting to look a lot better, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, whether it's $1 or $100, it's up to you. You're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $3,000. And the best part is, any can be a free Tesla, Neo, or AMC share. The offer ends very, very soon. Once again, just 7 days left. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So in my previous video, I did give you guys an update on the pre-market, and I do apologize about the audio in that video. I know the audio was very quiet, and I'm really sorry about that once again. What happened was I was recording it at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and that's very close to when the market opens for me. So once again, I have to wake up super early, and I was trying to be quiet when doing so, but at the end of the day, I mean, I have another solution. So the quality and the audio should be much better starting tomorrow. I will work for that, and I will provide you guys with much better updates moving forward. But I'm going to be providing you guys with pre-market updates, so early in the morning you guys can check it out to see some levels, and they're not going to be designed to just talk about what I predict to happen for the entire day. It's more like to talk about the open and the first like hour or so for the market, the first couple of hours, and also the key levels to watch for, which could be helpful for the rest of the day, right? So I just want to give you guys updates on the pre-market and also talk about what could happen moving forward, like right now too. But first, let's talk about the news and the other things affecting the markets. So first off, I just want to note that for a lot of those Chinese companies, we had some bad earnings from Xpeng, which caused consumer discretionaries to have some negative times and also lots of Chinese stocks to crash. There was also some negative news involving Chinese hackers that came out today from Microsoft. Once again, I mean, it's just bad news. It shouldn't be massively impactful for the time being, but it's worth noting, at least for now. Now, I also want to add that for SPY, we have something very interesting developing. There aren't too many options expiring tomorrow, but we have about 900,000 puts expiring, or almost that many for Friday, and about under 400,000 calls expiring. Now, with the 2.3 put to call ratio, if I were a market maker, I would try to short squeeze a lot of these shorts. And what could trigger it could be possibly the debt ceiling. Maybe Biden and McCarthy are about to announce some agreements because we're starting to see some progress being made according to each of them. And if that happens, if they're waiting for Friday to make the big announcement, it would make a lot of sense because you have to consider that on Monday we have Memorial Day, the market's going to be closed. And also, I mean, they just want to get that deal out of the way as soon as possible. Both of them have been pretty fixated on that, especially because of what Janet Yellen has been saying every single day since Sunday. She's been saying there's going to be a massive recession if they don't get anything done. She's been saying that she can't meet all of her obligations if they don't raise the debt ceiling. So because of that, right, I'm pretty sure the odds favor them getting an agreement, and they're probably not going to try to wait too much longer. I mean, I really hope, at least. That's what I'm hoping for. Hopefully, this is not like an extreme level of wishful thinking, but I still think that the odds favor some kind of announcement on Friday. Not just the option chain is suggesting that, but also the charts, which I'm going to show you in just a couple of minutes. Now, when it comes to the FOMC minutes, they came out today, and there are two main things to just look at. The first thing would be the rate cuts. The Fed is not anticipating any rate cuts until 2024, early 2024. That's what they said. They could be wrong. If things start breaking early, then they could have to do that. Secondly, let me just add that they're less confident on the need for more rate hikes. So they're not going to likely continue with this. So the rate cuts are likely not going to happen until 2024, at least according to them, and they're not as much confident about raising rates even more from here. Now, on top of this, let me just add that when it comes to Nvidia, they beat on earnings. Luckily for many people out there, the revenue was 7.2 billion versus 6.5 billion. They beat on revenue. They beat on adjusted EPS. by quite some margin. I mean, we got $1.09 versus 92 cents, quite nice. Gaming is up like crazy, 2.2 billion versus 1.9 billion, and then the data center is also up quite nicely. So overall, Nvidia is pumping on this. Guidance looks relatively strong. I'm very proud of them. They do have a tendency of beating on EPS and other things like that. Now for tomorrow for earnings, I forgot to mention this. I don't have the graph right here, but we basically just have retail for tomorrow, like Best Buy, just a couple of earnings like that. Nothing too insane tomorrow. But what's going to be big is going to be before the market opens, we have initial jobless claims coming out. So this may cause some volatility in the morning, 1 hour before the market opens. Then we have the GDP numbers coming out, the GDP growth rate. That's going to be very important for the markets too. And then finally, we have one Fed speaker and then some manufacturing data, which is not as significant as the other things I mentioned. But for now, if Nvidia leads the way, this could help the market pump for tomorrow. Now, am I turning into a perma bull? The answer is not necessarily. I still anticipate that there's going to be a big correction in the future. However, the market could be set for a nice bounce very, very soon over the next couple of trading days. And why do I say that? Well, there are many reasons. First off, the market is thinking, at least Wall Street is expecting Biden and McCarthy to announce an agreement, which could make a lot of progress for the debt ceiling. That's some good news to start us off. Additionally, let me just add that the charts are starting to look more bullish. We have a bullish divergence on the RSI. If you look at the levels that the market has been at, like right here, for example, you could see we actually made, we had lows like right here, the 409 low, and then we made a new low on the RSI and continue to do so even relative to this 408 low. So the RSI is making this lower low, price made a higher low. And then the same thing happened on the MACD or the MACD. If this bottom holds, because once again, I'm not 100% convinced yet. We have to hold this bottom of 409. If we hold 409, we're likely going to start to push up all the way back up to about 414 or higher than that. Okay, and I'm going to show you in a few minutes why that is. If we break below 409 tomorrow, if that unfortunately happens, then it is possible for us to break these lows previously and then invalidate these bullish signals. Okay, but for now they're valid and the odds do favor that the low is in and the market's going to try to bounce. Why else am I saying that? Well, we have a bullish catalyst. The whole market is green in the after hours and Nvidia is up. Let's see. Look at this hourly candle. This thing's at 370. It's up almost 20% for the day. In my previous video, I told you guys Nvidia would likely drop approaching earnings, and then it's going to react to what the FOMC minutes tell us. I was telling you that Nvidia would probably approach around 300, and we ended up bottoming around 298. How interesting is that, right? So then I told you guys that we're going to react to earnings. Watch out for Ivy Crush, but it has a tendency of doing well, at least historically. I wasn't sure though, and I told you just be careful. And if anything, we got a big move, and this is once again bullish for the semiconductors. It's bullish for the NASDAQ. And this is a great, great, great piece of news. Look at the volume on this thing. It's insanely overbought. Of course, that doesn't even matter at this point. For the time being, it looks very, very strong and may continue to pump even tomorrow. But this is very good. Very, very good for the markets. This could help the markets pump quite a bit. Let me also add that on the VIX, I don't know if I saw this. The VIX is up to 20 at resistance, but it's starting to slow down a little bit. We have this gap down below, another gap down here. And the VIX is about to get a bearish cross on the PPO. If that happens, this could be followed by a potential cool off in the VIX, which could lead to downside for it because of the market pumping. Also, we have a potential bearish divergence developing on the VIX right over here. It's developing. Not a guarantee, of course, it depends on the debt ceiling, but there are signals suggesting the market may bounce soon. On the SQQQ, the same thing is being shown. It's already starting to drop in the after hours as the Nasdaq is pumping. With the QQQ, we also, let me double check this. We formed what appears to be a bearish divergence because we made a lower high and then the RSI made a higher high, but we needed confirmation, and so far we're starting to get some confirmation in the after hours, so it's very possible. Anyways, when it comes to SPY, now let's break down this chart. Let me just mention something else that's interesting. If you exclude the extended hours, check this out. We're starting to curl right here on the MACD. We're losing the bearish momentum and it's starting to turn more bullish. And then we have this gap to about 414, almost 414, then another one at almost 419. If we break and hold 412.5 tomorrow, if 412.5 holds, If we break above it, there's going to be a good chance of us trying to fill this gap to 414 very, very soon. Very soon, we're going to tag these higher levels. I think that's very likely. I think with Nvidia's earnings, the odds are favoring that. And then my guess is, okay, this is just my like hypothetical guess. I think Biden and McCarthy are going to be announcing some good news about the debt ceiling, some progress, an agreement on Friday. I could be wrong, so don't count on me being right, but I'm thinking that. And it makes sense because the market makers want something to pump the market extremely hard. They're going to try to do it most likely. Looking at these gaps and also looking at the options chain, I think it's very possible. Am I promising it? Not necessarily. I'm always going to be open minded, but I think the odds are favoring that for Friday, Biden could have a big announcement for us alongside other congressional members. But once again, that's just for Friday. For tomorrow specifically, I think the odds favor the market making an attempt to go up now, thanks to Nvidia. We could gap up on SPY, maybe cool off as the day goes on, then just try pushing by power hour, try to fill this gap. And I think some bulls are starting to return. I think the odds favor that. For Tesla, it's already up to the levels I was talking about. It's going to likely fill this gap like super, super soon. It's already up in the after hours. You can see it right here. It's very close to filling the gap in the after hours. It hasn't quite done that yet, thanks to Nvidia, but it's getting very close. I think Tesla's going to make its way to the mid 180s very, very soon. It's looking much stronger. We have a bullish cross in the 1 hour time frame on the MACD. For the QQQ, I mean, this thing's up pretty hard right now. It's at 335. Uh, Nvidia might help this thing pump even harder. So it's starting to gain a lot of strength after this bullish divergence developed. Where is the bullish divergence? It started to develop right about here. You could see we made a higher low on the price, but we're making a lower low on the RSI and the MACD. So the QQQ is starting to pump. That's bullish. This could help the market pump even more. It may cool off a little bit intraday and then just try to continue going, but Nvidia could really help it, and that could translate to SPY later on. But it's mainly going to help the tech sectors. Don't forget about that. One of the things I mentioned to you guys was that was very interesting was the HYG, or the smart money indicator, was forming a bullish divergence, and we saw it getting bought up at this higher low initially, which meant that a lot of these smart money or these institutions were buying the dips expecting a bounce, and the market is starting to show signs of that. Neo has a big opportunity. It was down crazy hard because of Xbox earnings and also some Chinese news. It's going to likely try to make its way up back above $8 very, very soon, pushing for 8.2, then potentially the gap fill if it continues to break out. The Nasdaq went down to the level I was talking about, this gap fill. Where is the gap? I think it's like right, it was somewhere here. There's like this gap that had to get filled in the 12,400s. That is where this thing went to. And I also mentioned we had this imbalance right here, right? This imbalance around 12,416, around there. We came very close and we're starting to bounce on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ looks like it wants to pump even more. The SPX, let's double check this. SPX was forming a bullish divergence as well on the 1 hour time frame. Looks to me like SPX is going to try to get a bounce. It might try to fill this gap very soon to get to 4,000, or I would say 41.44 very, very soon over the next 2 days. And if Biden and McCarthy do make the announcement, like what I'm guessing right now, by Friday, this thing could fly to fill this gap like crazy and squeeze shorts to oblivion. Shorts may start covering, leading to a short squeeze. Is still very possible. I mentioned the VIX and the SQQQ already. The dollar is up to 3.9. I'm sorry, 103.9. Sorry, guys. But here's the thing about the dollar. I'm not really, let me double check this. It could be forming a divergence if it does fail here. If we get a rejection here, the RSI is suggesting it might cool off a bit, but there's no confirmation of that just yet, okay? There's no confirmation yet. We could see the dollar just temporarily drop, but it's still looking relatively strong, which is bearish for the stock market. So maybe the dollar cools off a little bit, maybe the market pumps a little bit, and then the dollar breaks out later on. If the dollar continues to break out, this rally in the stock market, if the market does pump thanks to Biden and McCarthy, it might not last very long because the dollar is gaining strength, and that's hurting the stock market moving forward. For Coinbase, thanks to the Nasdaq, this has the potential to bounce. It was forming. It looks like it was forming a bullish divergence here. It's not forming on the MACD, but on the RSI it was forming. It's going to likely make its way all the way back up above 60 very, very soon. I think a lot of this bullish momentum could help it out over the next couple of days. For Baba, came down once again with XBONG. I was talking about this having more downside to 80 or even lower, and it's very oversold right now. So this could be a good opportunity for a lot of buyers. Bullish divergence on the MECD. Not seeing it on the RSI, however, but it does have the potential to try to hold 80 and get a bounce tomorrow, maybe a small bounce back to 83 or so. Nothing too major. Apple is down in the after hours, which is a little bit surprising as it's rejecting off the 200 EMA. But like I said before in my previous videos, I was looking at Apple to bounce off this 170. That's exactly where Apple bounced. And now I think it has the potential to just chop around this 172 zone for the time being. But if it continues to break out things in the market, it could have some bullish momentum moving forward and try to make its way back above 172.5. Nvidia is now up about almost 20%. When it opens tomorrow, it might just continue pumping. I mean, this is strong. So many people buy it. But I personally, let me just mention to you guys, this is not financial advice, but I'm not really playing Nvidia. I did not want to hold any calls overnight because of Ivy Crush. Could they have printed? Sure, but I don't really like to gamble too much. I would have to hedge anyways. If anything, there's still opportunity tomorrow if you learn to scalp it, and that could still work out very, very nicely. But don't forget, guys, always be patient, always be careful. Google's up pretty big. I told you guys Google might make its way down to 120 yesterday. That is what Google did. Then I told you we could get a bounce around there. And what you'll notice on the chart is there's a bullish divergence potentially forming right here. We might see Google, which was very, very oversold at these levels, making attempts to the upside. The Nasdaq and also Nvidia are helping it out. So this, it might cool off a little bit by the time we open to like the 123 area, then make its way all the way back up into the 126 area, into the mid 120s, if not getting closer to 130. It's still very possible. The 10-year Treasury yield is pumping, which is very interesting because this is not really moving with or against the market anymore. It was moving with the markets on some days, other days it wasn't really doing that. So the correlation is just not as strong as before. Okay, I just want to note that. For Amazon, I was telling you guys Amazon could get a bounce. 2 days ago, I said that, and then Amazon got the bounce. And I told you guys Amazon might have a very flat day today, and instead it pushed up a little bit more than what I was expecting. Now, what I'm seeing for Amazon is it's going to likely retest the 50 EMA around this 115.75 area, but I'm anticipating that's going to hold up quite nicely. It has a decent setup. I mean, there's a possible inverse head and shoulders forming as long as it holds these areas, and it could make its way up to about 119 if the market continues to pump, which I think is very likely. I told you guys Meta has a nice setup. I've been saying that Meta looks nice, it looks strong. I've been saying that over and over again. Meta still looks very beautiful in my eyes, continuing to push up. Could we cool off tomorrow in the morning? Yes, it might cool off just a little bit to retest like 248, but I could see this thing blasting off above 250 over the next couple of days, especially if the Biden McCarthy deal is done. It could pump even harder to a new high compared to 253. I see potential in Meta, uh, but once again, it depends on what news comes out, so be very careful. This bearish divergence I called out a couple of days ago. I was talking about how there was a bearish divergence forming. It played out, right? We saw this thing drop. Then I told you guys this thing might bounce very soon. That is what happened to Meta for now. For now, it's looking pretty nice. I told you guys there could be a test in the mid 140s, and that's what happened. Now I'm anticipating it to cool off and maybe continue pushing, try to get its way back up to 250 plus. All right, so that's what I have for this video. I'm gonna try to keep this one short. For tomorrow, let me just note that the odds are favoring the market getting a positive reaction thanks to Nvidia. And also we have some bullish signals, and this could oftentimes be thanks to other very, very bullish things, thanks to you know, anticipation of a deal. And I think that what I'm guessing is by Friday, I think Biden and McCarthy might announce an agreement. I'm not promising it. If I'm wrong, so be it. But that's what I'm thinking based off what I'm seeing, because both of them are saying lots of progress is being made, and they truly can't, wait too much longer. They really can't do this. It's going to hurt Americans. It's going to be unhealthy for our economy, and like I said before, this is long overdue because they usually wait until the last minute to get anything done. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for listening. I have some merch for you guys around the comments section. You should be able to see the links if you're interested in buying a shirt that says to the moon, or a tank top, or a hoodie, or something like that. And don't forget about the Weeble link. The offer ends very, very soon. Deposit any amounts of money and you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $3,000. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Have a great day. The market to the moon is the long term is still incredibly bright, and peace out.